It's a story that's just, well, chilling. Over a year ago, a 13-year-old girl, someone who knew the woods around her home like the back of her hand, just walked into the forest in rural Maine, and she never came back. The search for Stefanie Damron is still very much active, and today we're going to break down everything we know about this haunting case.
So let's just get right to it. This is the one question that has been haunting her family, investigators, and really the entire community for more than a year now. Where is Stefanie Damron?
And right there, that's the heart of the mystery, isn't it? Stefanie wasn't some city kid lost in the wilderness. She was totally at home out there. She'd often walk for hours and always came back. But on that day, something was different. She just vanished. And there hasn't been a single confirmed sighting of her since. To really let the weight of this sink in, just look at this timeline. Stefanie was only 13 when she disappeared. An entire year has gone by. You know, she's since had a birthday while she's been missing. She's 14 now, and her family is still just waiting for answers.
You know, to even begin to piece this puzzle together, you first have to understand Stefanie's world, because it was really different from most teenagers. Her entire life was lived almost completely off the grid.
So let's paint a picture here. The Damron family, that's Stefanie and her 5 brothers and sisters, they all lived together in a wooden yurt on this huge 20-plus acre property. They didn't have running water or indoor plumbing. Power came from a generator. And all the kids were homeschooled, which meant they had very, very little contact with anyone outside of their immediate family. It was a really insular, isolated way to grow up.
Now, I know that lifestyle might raise some questions, but according to the lead FBI investigator on the case, this was a totally deliberate choice by her parents. Her dad, Christopher Damron, basically said this is just how he wanted to raise his kids, moving around, living off the land. And this is a really crucial point. For Stefanie, walking off into the woods wasn't a big deal. Her parents said she'd do it all the time, just disappear for a few hours. She knew the area really well, so it wouldn't have been weird for her to kind of run off for a bit to cool down and then just show up later. But this time was different, tragically different.
Okay, so let's try to reconstruct that afternoon. What exactly happened on the day she disappeared? What do we know?
From what we can gather from reports, it all started with an argument between Stefanie and one of her sisters. She was upset, so she walked off into the woods. And here's a critical detail. Her parents weren't home at the time. Only some of her siblings were there. So when her parents got back and she still wasn't around, they figured she'd come back eventually, just like she always did. But then hours started to pass, and when she didn't return, they finally called the Maine State Police.
And that one phone call, it triggered a massive investigation. The Maine State Police were on it, and they were very quickly joined by the FBI, who even brought in their specialized child abduction rapid deployment team. I mean, they took this seriously from the jump. And right now, the FBI is offering a reward of up to $15,000 for any information that leads them to Stefanie. A number like that, well, it tells you just how serious this is, and frankly, how desperate they are for a real break in this case.
And you can't really overstate the challenge they're up against. The search has covered thousands and thousands of acres of incredibly rugged Maine terrain. They've followed leads not just in Maine, but all over the country and even up into Canada. And so far, nothing has panned out.
You know, the impact of something like this is just huge. Her family, you can only imagine, is absolutely traumatized. The whole community has been shaken to its core. People don't feel safe anymore. They're wondering if their own kids are okay playing outside. When a child disappears from their own backyard, it sends this ripple of fear through everyone.
And this, right here, is where the story turns to you. Because this search is not over, not by a long shot. And a tip from the public, from someone watching this right now, could be the one thing that solves this.
So please take a really close look. This is what you need to know. Stefanie is 14 years old now. When she went missing, she was 5 feet tall, about 130 pounds, with brown, shoulder-length hair. The last time she was seen, she was wearing blue jeans, a long-sleeved blue shirt, and some very distinct black Harley-Davidson hiking boots. Remember that detail.
If you have any information, and I mean anything at all, here's who you need to call. You can contact the Maine State Police directly, call the FBI's National Tip Line, that's 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can submit a tip completely anonymously online at tips.fbi.gov. Seriously, take a second, maybe pull out your phone and screenshot this.
Look, it's so easy to think that what you saw or what you heard is nothing, that it's not important. You might have dismissed it at the time. But investigators, they need every single piece of this puzzle.
That one tiny detail you think is insignificant, that could be the one thing that connects all the dots and finally brings Stefanie home. So, we just have to leave you with this question. If you have any piece of information, no matter how small you might think it is, why stay silent?
The FBI is absolutely determined not to let this case go cold. As Agent Aguilar put it, it's so important that this case doesn't just die off as another number. A family is out there, still waiting. And the hope, the real hope, is to find Stefanie alive. The search is still on, but they need help. They need your help.